post too to see if I can answer a question. Hey, what's up, everybody? So Eric and Omar here. Hopefully Michelle will be joining us too. So we're doing this video because Michelle posted a question because she's got, someone who I guess is like a great salesperson that she wants to bring on. And so she's like, hey, should I bring him on? Just commission? Should I pay him salary? And I'm like, look, there's a lot of ways this could go. And truthfully, anyone who answers questions on Facebook, you can't really trust it because a good answer is going to require some digging, because there's no situation that's really not unique, so I would just be aware when you're asking things on Facebook, there's usually some qualifying questions that are required before a good answer comes. So that's what the intention was for today. And I was like, hey, Michelle, I'm happy to get on a call with you. And then Omar's like, hey, I'm actually hiring somebody too. I'm like, all right, well, join us. So Michelle, I hope, hopefully you join us. And if you don't, maybe we'll do another one, or hopefully this answers some of your questions. I'm going to try to pull up your Facebook post and address it the best I can after we talk about Omar's situation. So before we get into talking about this this new production manager hiring, why don't you just share with people your background and your business? Because I think you're in an exciting spot, man.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Omar. I'm with Dr. Payne. I've known you, Eric, through your course. I think the first time I came to know you was in 2014, I believe.
Yeah,
years
it's
ago.
been a while.
It's been a while. So I know the course, but I have to say that I haven't followed your course 100% all those years.
You're the only one.
Now we're really taking this seriously. And we've seen some great results, and that's the reason why now we have a production manager, which is kind of backwards. I should have gotten this call first and then hire him, but the situation, yeah. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me. I've been in business for about 7, almost 8 years. Most of that time it was all employees, and we did terrible. I was selling, but the guys always used my time, and I couldn't scale it. Since I got serious, following your course and really implementing the 50% and locking in my margins. And I remember having a conversation with you 2-3 years ago, and I was using employees, and you told me, Omar, you can use employees, but lock in your margins. So I never did that. So that's why we didn't do good. But this year, we are running a 50% profit margin. That's why we can hire a production manager, which we did, but we're structuring the offer now, which is kind of backward. He was a painter first.
The fact that you said, hey, I'm structuring this offer when we first got on the call, I'm like, oh, it's like music to my ears, man. Like taking the time to build your offer, and like, I can tell you're really thinking about it. And most people don't want to act so fast. Like, no, slow down, think, design, like be intentional. It's a big deal. This could be a guy that runs your company in the future.
And that's this guy, I have to say, in the 8 years that I've been in business, this guy is an ideal candidate. I mean, he's been with me for about over a year, and he's all in. You can tell. And so I don't want to mess this up. I want to make sure it's all done right. So I'm running some numbers by my accountant, and I was looking at the offer, trying not to ask too many questions if the answers are already in the course. So I go over the course, and I looked at the offer, and I looked at some of the other stuff, but there's some gray areas. So the main question I have for today's call is, what's the formula? Like the question is what are the things that you look at to structure the offer? Because I don't want to miss anything. And I know they're all going to look different at this stage, maybe later on. Right now, we're looking to close the year at around 750,000. So I know next year, hopefully, we're aiming for 1.2. But for right now, we're on track to hit 750. And he's out. I mean, I'm selling, and he's outproducing me. He's doing about I'm selling close to $17,000 a week right now, but he's producing, I'm sorry, anywhere from 25,000 to 30,000. So we're running out of jobs. So I need to like step it up a notch, but he's producing at a
Yeah.
50% plus. And I just want to make sure I compensate him right.
Yeah, really good, man. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up the offer document so we can look at that.
And I have it up.
So yeah, I see you on there. Good, man. Okay, so let's see. I think the first are you using the master business plan?
I am using the master business plan, but at the same time, we're doing job costing slightly different because it's so complex that we're yes and no.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you a couple of things about MVP maybe at a later time. But,
okay.
But
well, we're gonna revamp all that in the membership in the off season. So
sure.
But
we're keeping track of our numbers, just if that was
mainly. Well, and mostly, I'm not referring necessarily to job costing because you can plug that in on your actuals, but at least budgeting and then how you manage marketing, sales, production plan, like in the financial plan, because that's really like as you build your business, you want to be thinking ahead, like, hey, what's my whole financial plan once I have these people in place? And so I want to give you like kind of the general direction you want to go with your team. And the way I think about this is, over time, here's the hard question to solve. Over time, how does my team make more money, but I pay them a lower percentage? Okay, so and there's some boundaries I got to put on this. Like, I'm not okay with my team sacrificing their personal life for their work because I'm not sacrificing my personal life for my work. Like, I don't want to ask them to do things I'm not going to do. I want my team to have a great life and have all that opportunity and spend time with their family and be home by 6 if that's when they want to be home, and not work on weekends if they don't want to work on weekends. And so their personal life is one boundary. So they've got these hours to get their job done. That's one thing. And then the results they produce in those hours is how they earn money. If I can help them get better at producing results in those hours, they make more money. And so if they produce 50% more results, I could technically pay them 50% more, but maybe I pay them 30% more. So they're still making more, but my margin's getting better. So then how do we do that? Like, how do you do that? And the answer is there's really 2 levers to pull. So one is going to be improving your systems and procedures in your business. There's always a way to make things more efficient. Always. And I'm going to be adding more stuff to that's going to be the direction this whole course is going, with, building a $2 million company where people are thriving and all that. Yeah. We're going to need to help your team be way more efficient so that he can produce. And there's really 3 ways that a production manager creates more value. They bring in a higher gross profit margin, happier customers, or more total revenue produced. And you want to really make sure that we don't incentivize one at the cost of the other. One time I incentivized, hey, the more revenue you produce, the more you make. But he produced a boatload of revenue. That's the most we ever had a production manager produce. But the customer experience, it wasn't bad. Like, we didn't get bad reviews, but it wasn't as good as it should have been. So we probably missed a ton of referrals. The overall value he created for the company was probably down, but he made more money. Right? So if I only produce $1 million, but I get a referral on every single one of those, right? That's $1 million in referral business. That's worth 30 grand in referral fees to my PM. Or I could have him produce more, but not. See what I'm saying? So those are kind of the 3 things we want to optimize for and help them. That's one thing, is our better systems, better procedures. That's one thing. And I'm going to level that up a bit and work with you guys to see. And we're all going to be like, in this membership, we're going to be working towards how do we accomplish what I'm talking to you about, helping our people make more and more. Our top PMs will make probably 90K, this year. Our top sales guy, like team lead, he's probably going to get close to 150 this year. Our guys are making massive raises because we're just getting so much better at their performance. One of our sales guys, he's not our top guy. He sold 70,000 the last 2 weeks in a row. So his commission's like 4,200. So over 2 weeks, he made $8 grand in commission.
Wow.
And it's because we're getting better and better at our systems.
Correct.
But the other thing that's just as important, maybe more important, is how you develop your people. So we're going to start with some of that in the fall too. So just so you know that those things are coming, and big picture, that's the game. Because when you, Omar, develop the skill of how do I help my employees produce more results without putting in more time, it's through better systems and through developing them as just high performing people. When you build that skill, you now have a really powerful skill because you can bring people in, help them produce more. And once you've proven, hey, I have a production manager who can produce, like, let's say you, let me back up. Let's say you hire someone for 60K. Okay. Someone who is worth 80K doesn't apply for 60K job typically.
Okay.
So there's some really ambitious people who, you know, that doesn't happen often, right? If you used to make an 80 grand, you don't go get a job for 60.
No.
Right. And most people who are used to making 60 don't go apply for a 100K a year job. They don't have the.
That's a lesson right there. That's a lesson though. When I was listening to stuff, that's a lesson. Like about, I think in the offer you had mentioned that, you know, you can't expect people to, was it you? Yeah, I think it was you. Yeah. It's like, anyways, that's a lesson in its own. I can't express my thoughts right now.
You're good. You're good. So you can't expect a $60,000 a year person to perform as an $80,000 a year person. Is that pointing to what you're referring to?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. So and for high performance too, when you're recruiting and stuff like that, and how you structure the offer, it was you. I remember
No, you're right on the money. And so what we want to do though is like right now, you know, you're like, hey, we're going to produce 1.2. Like that's what we're going to produce. So I would structure my comp plan around like, I know I'm going to have that production. As long as he produces that, I can afford to pay the guy 65, 70K a year. And he comes in and does that. And then you're like, okay, now how do I work with him to get him up to like making 85 a year? And now you're like, once he does it once, you're like, I have a system for that now. So now when I recruit the next person, I'm going to offer 80K as the base pay. And I'm going to hire a freaking superstar. And that person's going to come in at 85. And I'm going to help them develop themselves to now make 100K. And now I can just start bringing in people at 80K with bonuses to 100. And I can recruit top dogs.
That was the lesson right there that it was either on the offer section or the team building, which is great. For me, that was an eye-opening because when I did increase my hourly rate for painters, I saw better candidates.
Of course.
And I didn't think about it, but when I was listening to your course, it makes sense. And I'm like, that's why I was getting better people.
You know, and the other thing that a lot of people can't overlook with the offer is it's not just money, and it's not even just money and health insurance and dental and stipend for your car and phone. That's all great. But part of the offer too is, am I going to have opportunities to grow at this company? Am I going to be supported with training and development? Or am I just going to be like, very few companies really invest in their people. And even companies that say, yeah, we really invest in our people, they're not really, right? So there is no real shortcut to your offer because you got to back it up, you know? And so you might not be able to offer all this, but over time, now that you're shifting gears, you're going out of phase one, I'm going into building teams. And so over the next 3 to 5 years, your job is to make a better offer and back it up. And then the way I make my offer better is I make sure the people who are in that position are more and more successful. And that's a lot of what I'm going to like try to pour into this new, you know, annual program, right? It's just all that, like, how do you actually do that? Because I couldn't do it all in the, you know, the old course. All right. So now let's talk about the specifics though. So, you know, percentage wise, you know, where we're at right now is I would like to, I mean, our project managers are making about 6%. So I try to build out. Am I breaking up at all?
You are a little bit, but I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
I do have a question about that once you finish your thought, because we're running numbers and I'm looking at this and I want to make sure I'm still within a certain margin.
Ask your question. Well, my internet is questionable.
Gotcha. I can still, you're a little blurry, but I can hear you. So there was two ways that I was thinking about this before I looked at your offer and stuff. I was thinking about 6%, and I know one of
Yeah.
the accountant says you can do a couple of things. You can even make him a 1099 and 6%. I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
That don't sound like I'm invested in them, or so I didn't want to do that. But so my question to you is, when you add all these benefits, whatever you do,
Yeah.
cell phone, car,
Yeah.
does all of that have to fall within the 6%? Is that what you typically recommend? Like adding all of that, whatever you offer them under 6%.
Yeah. Well, let's just say that your health insurance and your stipends and all that is like $700 a month. Okay, so let's just say that's the number. That's $8,000 a year. If they produce $1 million, that's not even a full percent. So I wouldn't be as worried about that.
I see.
Because then the bonuses, so he's got to produce 1.2, I'd just say $1 million. You could say 50K right now. You could say, hey man, he'd probably be stoked about this. 50K base plus these benefits. And then that's to produce $1 million. But every $25,000 after $1 million, I'll give you $1,000. So if he goes out and does 1.2, he's actually going to make 58,000 plus benefits. And you're going to be at, whatever, 50, that's 66,000. So 66,000 divided by 1.2 million is 5.5%, right? So if we go 1.2 million times 0.07, I'm sorry, 1.2 million times 0.06, it's 72K. So if you actually produce 1.2 million, his total comp package could be 72,000. Now, here's a question I have for you that would come into play here is, in Colorado, let me pull it up to give you exact real fast.
We don't pay state taxes.
Say again?
We don't pay, you pay state taxes. We don't.
That's nice. Very nice. Congratulations. Thanks for rubbing that in. So what I'm talking about is seasonality. How many weeks a year? Do you have a down season?
Back to school. And it's not really, we don't. I can work all year.
See, I haven't been able to, right? So for anyone who's watching this and you're like, I'm going to, so for us, like our projections even taper off. I mean, right now we're supposed to be producing like 170 a week. And starting in November, the first week in November, it drops to 90, 86, 72, 33, 25, 25, 18, 8, 2, 0.
We don't have that.
In the beginning of the year, Omar, we didn't get up to 100K until May. Okay. So my point is we've got like 4 months a year that are slow. So one of the biggest things I'm focusing on, and this is for everybody out there who, is running a business that does have seasonality. One of the best ways that you can help your team make more money is extend your season. Get better at marketing year round. So we're already booking jobs for a discount in November and January, or in December and January. Like we're already pushing. We started pushing that in July to like help curb seasonality, because right now our project managers can pretty easily produce 1.2 million and they have no trouble really doing like $35,000, $40,000 a week, really clean, like really fucking good. But if I could just add 10 weeks a year at 30K a week, that's another 300 grand, man. I could pay them another 10K. That's huge. And my painters could make more money too. So for anyone in markets with seasonality, one of the best things you can do to help production managers make more money and painters make more money is curb that seasonality, whether it's with commercial painting or interior better marketing campaigns. Now for you, Omar, it's better news for you. You don't have to solve that problem. What that also means is if your guy can produce 30K a week right now, right? He's doing that right now. You could just say, hey, we're going to produce that for, let's say 44 weeks a year, because there's going to be a little bit of a slower, there's probably some weeks you can't produce 30.
Back to school is typically slow for us. But
for how long?
And then the last, August and September is kind of slower.
But you could probably sell
marketing and then you're good.
Yeah, you could probably fix that. So let's say it's 46 weeks. That's 6 weeks where he doesn't produce anything, whether it's because travel, he gets sick, he has a baby, it's really bad rain, who knows? Sure. All right, so 46 weeks times 30,000 a week is 1.38 million. You want to know what 6% of that is? $82,000. If he produces, so that's, I wouldn't say go and give him a $80,000 base, but what you might do is give him that 50 plus, you know, just for you, where you're like, hey, I know I can sell $1 million. Great. So have that be his guarantee. That's his guarantee and his requirement.
Gotcha.
And then when you build out in the course, there's the GSR, like his tracker, right?
Mm-hmm.
Build his revenue produced plan to be for like 1.3 million. And maybe you even make two of them. One that's his plan and one that's his goal. He has to hit the $1 million one. He's striving for the 1.4. So you're like, hey man, you hit that 1.4, you're going to get $16,000 in bonuses. So you're going to be at 66 plus your bonus, you'll be at 74K. You will be at like 5.5%.
Gotcha.
He'll make bank. And what you'll also do, Omar, is you'll prove that can be done. And
Gotcha.
if you're investing in him, the next year he should do better. Let's get him to do 35K a week the next year. And now now he's producing 1.6 million, right? And he could make 100K right there at 6%. That's badass. Now he's just your first PM, so you're going to help him get there. But then the next person you bring on it's going to make recruiting that much easier.
Right. Because he's doing recruiting right now and stuff like that. I know that I already gave him access to the course, and I told him, you know, this Thursday, you know, we're gonna lay out the lessons that he needs to go over each week, so that way he really gets good at what he's doing. So let me see if I understand this in simple terms. So what you recommend is let's develop a base pay, right? Based on projections, obviously, and then structure the bonuses based on performance, but in a way that'll cost me less. Like in your case, you have $1,000 per 25K produced after 1 million.
Yep.
That's an example of that, which is less than 6%.
Right.
And then some of these other little benefits like medical and stuff like that, do you just put that on like kind of overhead type because it's so minimal once they produce X amount, or do you?
No, because so think of it this way. So let's just say,
we're still falling under the 6 with the goals.
Well, so think of it like this. So you've got it's just kind of a part of the compensation based pay package.
Okay.
Right. So you got 50K. Since you're confident you can go sell $1 million, right?
Yeah.
And you're confident he can produce 30K a week, right?
Oh yeah. For him, yes.
And if he starts, let's say you make a comp plan and you say it's 50K base pay plus these benefits, which is like phone stipend, gas stipend, health stipend, like 300, 200 or something, like $800 a month. It's 9,600 a year. So his base package is 50K salary plus 9,600 benefits, which is right around 60K.
Okay.
So that's his base pay. His deliverables is $1 million produced, 50% gross profit margin, and some quality measurement to guarantee he's not just producing really profitable and a lot with unhappy customers.
Right.
Those are the 3 deliverables you got to manage with a PM. And then you say, okay, bonuses is $1,000 every 25K produced after $1 million. So you know your base is at 6%. Everything after that's at 4%. And I say to get your bonuses, you have to maintain that gross margin and your quality.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then what you can do is, so you'll end up at, 5.5%, 5.2% or something. And the next year you can give them a little raise. You can say, hey man, this year we're going to give you a higher base, because I believe production managers want a higher base. They want more security, and you don't want to incentivize them as much. You want a production manager who's just going to do an awesome job. Pay them more, expect more. That's it. Sales, you want them incentivized. So we don't raise the base pay on sales much. We just give more opportunities and bonuses for the bigger they go.
Gotcha.
But for a production manager, I'm like, I don't want much. I mean, I'll give them a little bonus, but mostly I just want them to do an incredible job. So next year, this year he goes out, does 1.2 million. You pay him 58K plus his benefits. Next year, just give him a 65K base or 60K base plus the benefits. And then instead of $1 million being the deliverable where his bonuses start, make it 1.1 or 1.2.
That
Because you're
makes
like,
total
hey,
sense.
I already know you can do this now. So it's kind of like, hey, man, I'm only going to guarantee you 50. Okay. Because that's the only thing I can guarantee you're going to produce and justify.
Right.
Once you've done that, okay, now I'm confident in giving you 65. I believe you're going to earn it. And then
Right.
there's upside.
Once you prove
Oh, now you
yourself.
made 75. I'm going to give that to you, and then I'll give you opportunity to earn it.
That makes total sense. That makes total sense. At the beginning, I wasn't, I'm glad that we got on this call to digest that, but because it's right there on that document, the offer.
Yeah.
So it makes total sense. Absolutely.
Cool.
So all the small little benefits, in other words, if you want to get creative,
Yeah.
that's the formula to follow. It's just,
Yeah.
look at how much you're going to produce, and then, play around with the numbers as long as within that at that stage, like a million, 1.5 million, what 6%, and then you can. I hear you.
Yep.
Makes sense. Total
Yeah.
sense.
Where do I know they're going to be able to produce 6% of
Right.
that? That's the base package. And then you can give bonuses after that.
Fair. I do
We
have.
always make, Omar, we always make an employment agreement in 1 year. So if they start in July, I make an employment agreement now till December 31st. All my employment agreements end on December 31st. So that in November and December, year's end, we make new agreements for the following year for everybody. Rather than like, if you imagine you have 8 employees and they all start at different times, like
No.
every month you're like revamping comp plans and people are done different, fucking messy.
Right.
So for this year, I'd be like, hey, you're doing 30K a week, and you map something out and you give them a base and say, starting next year, we'll give you bonuses and stuff too.
Right. And that's how
So,
I put the contract till the end of this year, because the
yeah,
goals for next year are different, and I
right.
want to simplify it like you just said. So I already put the dates in till December 31st.
And so if you're like, hey, I'm gonna pay you, you could probably give them the same rough package, right? $1,000 a week. No,
Mhm.
and a couple of smaller benefits, and you just gotta produce 25K a week.
That makes sense. Now, I do have a question
Yeah.
that other people might have. I don't know. It's kind of related, but he's producing the 30, and I already know he's doing it at less than 40 hours. He's kind of eager, and I'm like, let me take things slow. He's kind of eager to help on the sales. He's been shadowing me a little bit. Because
The same guy? Same
I'm
guy?
sorry? The same guy.
Don't do it.
Go ahead. Do you mind? Why? Why do you think that?
Well, 2 reasons.
Okay.
One is the best production manager is not the best salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
They're different skill sets,
Correct.
different people. Specialization is valuable and grows businesses.
Gotcha.
So at some point, we even separated, at some point we'll separate residential commercial sales. At some point we'll separate residential commercial production. At some point we pulled colors out of the production department and made its own department. So specialization, we hired an office manager so salespeople could just do estimates and make no phone calls, right? So the bigger you get, the more you specialize.
Makes sense.
So it's just good principle. The other reason is you a little bit run the risk of him just leaving and starting his own thing.
Yeah. That was one of my concerns.
Yeah.
I can tell that he's doing it because he's trying to help.
Yeah.
But I was like, if he has everything at his fingertips like that, I feel it'll be too easy for him to take off.
Yeah. And I've seen it happen a bunch. Yeah, I would just be like, hey man, no, you focus on mastering this. I'm gonna handle sales, and I'm gonna groom. You want to start having a conversation with him now about his future. Like that's one of the most important things about an offer is, man, people are fucking jaded, Omar, about being an employee. Just resigned, and they don't even know they're resigned. It's like, hey, if I could make 80K a year, I'm like, 80K, why not 150? Why not 200? Why are we in this world where like, oh, that's how much good pay is, and companies are greedy and keep everyone like under this ceiling of like, this is what, man, it's trash. Like I'm trying to figure out, how do I have my like key employees make $300,000 a year?
I've had that conversation with him. Like I wanted to reverse engineer it in a way that, hey, where do you want to be so I can work
Yeah.
with you so you can make money? Because I want, honestly, not just him, but my painters to make money. I want
Yeah.
this place to be a place where they make good money, because that way I feel like that's a lot of value that won't leave
Yeah.
if they have a good place to work and make good money.
And part of that one about painters is gonna, like, I just can't do it yet, but it's on the radars. We got to make the trade sexy. We got to make being a painter like really inspiring and cool again. But part of what will make it interesting is the future, which is, hey, master your trade and we'll teach you how to be a subcontractor. And become a subcontractor, and we'll teach you how to be a subcontractor that produces $2.5 million a year for our business, and you put $200K in your pocket.
That's cool.
running 10 guys. And by the way, you're going to spin those guys off into being other subcontractors too. And there'll be some, I haven't even thought through it enough. There's a lot to think through, but we've got to, it's part of it, man, is like growth has to be in the equation, because there's going to be people, like, you're going to hit a ceiling at different levels. Like, look, I don't think an employee at a painting company is going to make more than 300 grand a year. You want more than that, you're going to have to go start your own company, or start one with me,
right,
or have some ownership in mine, or branch off and start another company as a partner with me or something. But like, there's going to be limitations to different things. As a painter, you're not going to make 300K a year as a painter, right? You're going to have to be a GM or be responsible for running the whole division or something. And so I think it's good to just think about that, but also know that you probably have a bigger vision for him than he does. Like, he'd be like, dude, if I could make 80 grand next year, I'd be fucking stoked.
We talked about it. He's a pretty ambitious guy, but I've tried to plant the seed. He's helped me.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that works 60, 70 hours a week. He drives an hour to come to work every day, in and out. And he used to get home. He used to get to my town at 6 a.m. in the morning and be leaving at 7. I was like, you need to stop, because your marriage is important.
Yeah.
And he's poured so much into the business that I made a commitment to make sure that he's successful. He knows I'm committed I'm committed. I want to make sure he succeeds. That's why I'm making sure the offers is done right. I'm doing the accounting to make sure that at the end of the day, just like the budget, like we're budgeting everything to make sure the numbers are going to make sense. So he knows. And I've even talked about, if we ever open another branch, once we know that our business is solid, we might partner up. I don't know. It's like, I'm just selling a dream to him. Right. Well, and I got to back it up.
That's I literally just noted down, Omar, because I'm spending a lot of this year, like, what program am I building, with this new annual membership. And one aspect is like what we're talking about, like, this has got to be in there, right? Is like, how are we crafting an offer and future opportunities? What are those opportunities? What are the requirements for them to earn those opportunities? How do we structure those conversations for people? Because, part of it, Omar, is like, not everyone wants to be not everyone should be a business owner. I got my 2 marketing directors for National Painting Group. I'm like, I don't know if that's their role. Like, some people would be happier making less money, but doing what they love. Look, it really isn't all about money. And so how do we, like, I've had this conversation with a couple of my partners trying to figure out, like, hey, what's your role in the future? Like, what do you love to, truly, like, not just the fucking platitude, like, do what you love. Like, no, what do you truly love to do? What, like, gets you off? What doesn't feel like work, but other people are like, that feels like work.
Right.
And there's a ton of questions I had them go through and some personality tests they went through. And they're like, that's what I'm building towards now. And I'm trying to design that for our team members, so I can say, like, hey, look, we got a lot of future opportunities. Spin off and start a roofing company or another trade. Be a GM, spin off and start a painting company, be a consultant at MPG, build a new division of something, or be just a team lead. Like, hey, man, our sales leads will probably make 200 grand a year. Why don't you just be a sales lead at a company? Be a production lead at a company, be an office lead. So there's all these different opportunities we're creating, but which one should you be working towards?
A lot of digging, a lot of studying, a lot of
There's
questioning.
a lot to
Yeah.
dig into that, man. And it's worth digging into because depending on what role you're going towards would dictate the training and the support and how we're working together and what direction you're going. And more importantly, what you're saying no to. So I think these are all good things to be thinking about. I'm going to try and be doing a lot of this thinking to help people skip a lot of the thinking, because we're doing a lot of this at our companies. But I think that gives you a great place to start with this guy.
Absolutely.
A 50K base with some benefits. And yeah, the first thing I would be focused on, man, is like, how does he produce that 30K flawlessly without working himself to the bone? Like you're already working on, but that would be the first thing is like, we got to get you inside the boundaries first.
Right.
And then figure out how to get to 30 because you don't want to bring another PM in if that's the way he's getting things done, because that's now the precedent.
Right.
And you don't want to bring in a salesperson even and see that's how the other employee's working because it sets a precedent and creates a culture. You want people to come into a culture where they're like, holy shit, I can actually have it all at this company. Just look around.
Right.
Everyone here like has it all. They got future opportunities. They're well compensated. They have training and support, and they have a life. And there's just a lot of future opportunities. And that's what's cool is like you're starting to get closer and closer to that point where, hey, once I've got 2 or 3 people in place, like my job changes. My job becomes help them succeed and create a future that creates more opportunities. And then like they're there, they're here. My job is to help them get there. And as that happens, it gets bigger. My job becomes create opportunities and help people fulfill them. And, it's a great life to lead as a business owner, but it's also like creates wild success.
Right.
For you
great,
and for
great
people.
return. Great return.
It's better than however we've been building a business up to this point.
Right. Correct. And the number one reason why people leave companies, from what I've heard, is indifference.
Yeah.
When you do all this stuff, there's no indifference. I mean, you're helping them reach their own goals.
Yep. And it just takes work, and that's what we're going to try and do together, man. But I'm excited. You got a good guy. You got a good plan. Let me see if I can while you're here, let me just address Michelle's question for Michelle. So she said, what would you all recommend to pay? And then I'll answer any other questions you got, Omar. What would you all recommend to pay a sales rep? Said base pay plus commission, ? I would prefer to pay commission only, but don't know how to structure it, how much commission to pay, etc. I'm so busy with the residential painting estimating and jobs that I've been praying for someone to help me line up commercial jobs. And that someone called today out of the blue. Friend, previous sales experience, good people, and out of work, but has a wife paying the bill. Okay. So first of all, Michelle, where you look in the courses in the team building section, I know you're a member, I believe you're a member of the new program. So it should be under PVP residential. And then there's like intro to team building, recruiting, onboarding, and developing your team. That's where you would look. If they're okay with commission only, do that and just pay them. If it's residential work, 7% is good, or 6 to 7%. If it's commercial work, you're probably looking at 3 to 4. I wouldn't recommend bringing them on just to do commercial though, because commercial is going to take forever to ramp up and get going. What I would actually recommend instead, based on your Facebook post, is you said, I'm so busy with residential painting, estimating, and jobs. I've been praying for someone to line up commercial jobs. I think what you should change what you're praying for and say, I'm so busy with residential painting estimating. I've been praying for someone to help me with residential painting estimating. And that person has come here. So that would be really probably a better move, is have them take over your residential sales and start nurturing for commercial projects. And then you can just manage the jobs. And then typically you'd want to hire a production manager first, salesperson second. In this case, if you've got a great salesperson, you're juggling your real estate business on the side, and you're dealing with some of the personal stuff you're dealing with, assuming you have personal stuff you're dealing with. And so you've got a personal life, you've got another business, you got this business. It sounds like you're really busy. You want to take, if that's a great person, you trust them, you like them, you know they're going to do a good job, plug them into your residential sales. And then in the course, if you go to go to the onboarding, and there's an employment agreement, and open the sales rep employment agreement. And it's kind of the same conversation I'm having here with Omar's. You know, you want to figure out, hey, I know this person's going to be able to sell 10K a week. So I'm going to pay them, you know, $700 a week, which is 7%. And then I'll pay them 7% of everything after 10K. If they fall short of that 10K in sales a week, so let me just say it this way. So the way that we do it, Michelle, is we say, you're going to get $700 a week to sell 10K a week. Now, then we're going to pay a bonus after that 10K. But we don't do it weekly, because if they sell 14K this week, they get a bonus. And then if they only sell 8K the next week, we overpay. So we do bonuses every 4 weeks. So I say, hey, I'll pay you $700 a week for 10K in sales a week, 7% of everything after that, but we're going to do it every 4 weeks. So really, it's every 4 weeks, I'll pay you $2,800 for 40K in sales. And every dollar after 40 is 7%, or you could do 6%. And that way, again, you're kind of protecting your downside, because you're saying, hey, I'm going to give you a base. You got to earn it, though. And then you've got upside beyond that. And we do it every 4 weeks in case there's a down week. I'm not paying out, you know, 7, 10, 7, 12, 7. It ends up where I'm not really risking myself as much. You know, and then we have, you know, one of our guys just sold 140 grand in the last 2 weeks. You know, I mean, his bonuses started, I think, 50K every 4 weeks. And in 2 weeks, he did 140. So, I mean, he's going to get like a $10,000 or $12,000 bonus this month. So guys make bank, you know, when they, and again, that goes back to the beginning of our conversation, Omar, where it's like, hey, how do we help our guys succeed? You know, where we have 4 sales guys and we sold 195,000 last week. Those guys are making good money when the average sales rep selling just shy of 50K. So that's what we want to work on, is giving people base and then continue to help them perform better and better. That sets a new precedent for new people that come in. Awesome. Well, I don't know. I don't see whoever's Facebook user, very helpful guys, and maybe looking at hiring production manager next spring. If I don't know, I can't see your name. It just shows up as Facebook user on our stream. But anyways, Michelle, hope that helps. Comment on this, email me, let me know. And then, what up, Ryan? Okay. Yeah, so you're in the new membership. And then the one thing I'll leave everyone with is, I've mentioned a few times, but I'll put a link below the video with just a link over to, hey, what's this new membership that we're doing? Short version is, I want to help people build a $2 million company, and then not stop there, but stop, reflect, find a new purpose, and then create a new vision for where you want to take once you've got that platform. And at 2 million, it's, hey, your employees have it made. They're thriving. They're succeeding. Your customers are having an awesome experience. Your subs and painters love working for you. And you built a business where you aren't in control. You're in control. It's not running you. You've got, you know, hey, I could work 10 hours a week and this thing runs, and I wouldn't be like leaving anyone high and dry. Like, that's the kind of company I want to help people build. And that's what we're going to do in this new membership. So all the things I mentioned, Omar, on this call, where it's like, we're going to add that, we're going to add that, we're going to add that. I'm promising you guys, like, I'm going to build a kick-ass program, and now would be a good time to sign up for it before I start raising the price of it. All right. So, Omar, what other questions do you have, or did we cover it?
We covered everything. I appreciate
Awesome.
it. Thank you for the time and doing this for us.
Yeah, dude. Well, you've been around for a minute. You're a painting business pro OG, and I'm glad that you're following things now. You're going to rock, dude. I mean, this is a huge step. That first hire is a big one. And then, yeah, this first step's a big one. And then once you get that salesperson, dude, it's crazy how you've got to really, I'll just prep you, but one thing you're going to have to do is mentally shift. Like, you're running a very different business when you're in phase 2 than phase 1. Everything's different. In phase 1, like, you're putting in the time, you're grinding, you're like accountable. Phase 2 is like, it's less work. Like, there's not 40 hours a week to put in. There just isn't.
I'm looking forward to that.
Look, when you've got someone doing sales and you've got someone doing production, what are you doing?
Systems, running numbers.
Yeah, but there's only so, I mean, you could find 40 hours a week of work to do. It just would be hard. And you can't train someone 10 hours a week. It's too much training. I mean, maybe a few hours a week until they get good, you know, but shit, man. I mean, that's what's really cool about that next phase is you get to, and a big part of that is your own development. Like that's where you want to start investing, is like a lot more of your own leadership development, because when you develop yourself as a leader, you're also learning how to develop others as a leader. So there's going to be a lot of that, because that's what this guy's going to need, man. You know, like you want to, if you want to make $200,000 a year, $300,000 a year, you got to be a high fucking performer. There's no shortcuts here. It isn't just selling a dream. Right. It's like, no, the reality is you have to be an incredible performer, and you can't be ordinary. Ordinary makes what ordinary people make.
Correct. Correct.
And you're going to have to do things different to get there, including you as a business owner, your team. So anyways, I'm really excited to help you guys do that. I'm doing a lot of thinking on all this. We'll be rolling out some of that non-painting specific training like November, December, new master business plan, other good things. Awesome. And I'll probably keep doing some of these because it's good feedback for me too. At least I'll do these until we start really building out the material a lot more about.
It's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. If I were to give you a one-pointer, if you can make a short version of this conversation and put it somewhere in the course,
yeah,
it'll be great. Because I mean, now that I'm looking at the offer, it makes total sense. But when I first watched the video, I guess I couldn't.
What part of today's conversation clarified everything for you? Was it how I broke down the percentage?
How you literally explain the offer. When you look at the document, you just literally explain, and the whole percentage, like as you grow, it's a lesser percentage, and putting it in perspective with $1 million versus $2 million, all that made huge sense. I don't think that's in the course right now, the way you explain it.
I don't think it is. I mean, again, the reason I'm switching this annual membership is I can charge, I'm going to charge more money so I can deliver more value.
More value.
You know, when I'm charging $1,500, I'm like, I think I was way undercharging, right? Way undercharging. So I'm like, I can't. And it was starting to create just discomfort for me, man. I'm like, I got a lot more to share and provide, but I felt like I was handcuffed to, you know, my pricing. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm done. Like, here's where I want to go with people, you know.
I mean, I've seen a lot of stuff. I mean, I think I've saw the first version of the course.
Was it the one in Dropbox?
Yeah, yes. And
second version then. Here, I'll show you the first version, Omar.
Really?
I'll show it to you. Ready?
Yeah. Paper form. Get out of here.
Here it is, dude. Here's the first version.
Wow. Wow. No, I got the Dropbox one. Wow.
Okay. Audio CDs, man. I was shipping these.
Wow.
This was before like you could host shit online. They're shipping out this 8 CD set.
Yeah, I remember the course. You doing a video presentation. Wow, that's great. Yeah. And I remember you were probably. I remember when you were going some of the numbers. You know, it was. I've seen the growth because back then I remember you mentioning numbers and then mentioning numbers again. So I've seen kind of your growth. So I already see a lot of stuff here that wasn't in the old courses. Obviously, probably because of you learning as you grow. But me being stupid and not following it from day one. But
hey, man,
you know, we're committed now. I'm going to be sending you our agenda. If you have some time to, you know, give some feedback, that'll be great. Because time management, I've been reviewing that for the time management rules, because it's you're hitting the nail right there.
We're gonna do a lot more in-depth stuff like that in November, December, and then oh yeah, to clarify, when you signed up, I think 2014 is the first year we did $1 million in sales, and this year we'll do probably 11, and then I think next year we'll do over 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And that's where I'm like, guys, I got a lot to add here. Get your ass in the new membership if you want more training. If you don't want more training, don't do it. But if you want to go, you know, blow the hell out of your company and build an awesome one.
I feel honored. You're taking 49 minutes when you're doing 11 million in business, you know. So I thank you. The value is there. So I appreciate it. I'm sure other members are just as thankful.
Just wait, man. We're just getting started, Omar. You too, man. You'll be part of my mission is helping people discover what's possible. So
I feel that passion. I feel that passion, and that's great. I really, not all mentors you see some of the other mentors try to follow this trend. Now everybody's a mentor now, and
yeah,
you back then it wasn't a trend like it is nowadays,
no,
and you're a true mentor. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
man.
Hopefully one day I get to see you in person, and
I'd like to. Yeah,
so. But anyways,
cool.
thank you. I know you're probably busy. All my
Good.
questions are answered. I don't know if you want to go over anything else.
No, man, you're the man. I'll hit you up and ask you for a video testimonial though.
Absolutely, I'll be
Yeah.
happy to do that.
Oh, and by the way, just because you said it, yeah, dude, all the coaches coming out of the woodwork is driving me nuts. Driving me nuts, man. There's so much garbage, and it's like everyone's a coach, and there's so much trash. So no, that's what I'm passionate about doing, man, is being different and delivering the real goods. And yeah.
And it's like you said, it's tested. It is proven.
Yeah.
These are not theories. You're not building the business as you already gone through it. If you're doing $12 million, you're probably not getting a lot of coaching.
I'm always finding good coaches and consultants. I just got to go off the beaten path to find.
You got to get somebody that it's a 30,
Yeah.
40. I got you.
Yeah. I got a couple guys that are coaching. I just agreed to a 3.5-year consulting agreement with them, but they're doing things very different. You got to look. That's something I've gotten good at, man, is where to find good coaches and mentors, because there's a lot of not good stuff out there. But anyhow, man, good stuff, Omar. Excited for you. Keep us posted.
Will do.
And hit me up if you got follow-up questions, and feel free to send me that agenda.
Will do. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, have a great night, man.
You too.
See you.